Are you keen to put up a new climb? Do you thirst for all the glory involved? Do you want to hear the cries of adulation like, who bolted that piece of crap? We climbed that back in the 90s. But that's an old trad line. Why aren't there more bolts? Why are there so many bolts? Why is that bolt over there? And the timeless, that's not a 25. Well, all you need is heaps of shit. But before you get all that stuff, you also need lots of money, lots of free time, lots of skin on your knuckles, and most importantly, a local mentor, because you can't learn everything on YouTube. G'day frothers, and welcome also to the frothettes and the frothies. Welcome back to the bench. It's Boulter Down Under here, and today I'm going to be talking you through what you need to bolt a rock climb. First up, helmet. If you don't get your lid on when you're new rooting, you are asking for a preventable head injury. You know, this stuff hasn't been climbed before. There's going to be loose rocks above you. There's going to be loose rocks below you. Get your bloody helmet on. Now, you don't need to be a real cool guy like me and have a GoPro on yours, but for God's sake, get something on your noggin. Old ropes, you don't want to trash your new rope, do you? Also, statics, all that sort of stuff, whatever you need to actually get on a route, you know, top rope, abseil, rappel, whatever. A nice comfy harness. Lots of padding, lots of gear loops, extra belay loops. They all help. Your legs are going to sleep anyway, but this will really help. Get yourself a big wall harness or a trad harness or something that's a bit bigger and more comfortable. A little backpack. You can't always just have everything you need hanging off your harness, so it really helps to have a little one like this just to keep all your stuff in it until you're actually getting to the site where you need to use it. Just like any good night out, you'll want your uppers and your downers to, you know, properly maintain your position. Now, you do need a good skill set. You need to be able to abseil and rappel. Well, depending on if you like the German version or the French version, you need to be able to jug up a rope. You want to be able to rope solo for working moves, all sorts of rope skills. This is a huge subject and another reason why you really need a mentor to show you the ropes. And all that stuff is way outside the scope of this video, but you need good rope skills and good rope gear. Tool lanyards. You don't want to drop your bloody tools, do you? For this you can use anything, you know, Prussics, quick draws, whatever. But these nice stretchy ones, they make everything a lot easier because you don't need to just unclip and reclip every time you use the tool. You just reach out. Trad gear. If you can get this stuff in, it means you don't actually need to install bolts. But if you do need to install bolts, it also helps for positioning, for setting up anchors, for, you know, holding you in place if you're overhanging or traversing. Huge subject, once again, way outside the scope of this video, but again, ask your mentor. Removable bolts. I bloody love these things. From the moment I saw them, I knew we would be together. These things are amazing. They basically work like a cam, except you know you can always place them. A brush. Probably want a big proper one like this, rather than those little hair brushes you use in the gym. But do watch out because some places don't take too kindly to wire brushes. This particular one is quite nice because it's got a metal spine and you can use it for prying off bits of rock. A nut tool. Handy for removing trad gear, but also good for cleaning out cracks, descaling rocks. Nice to have. Hammer. You don't need a fancy one. Unless you're nailing your way up a big wall, just a normal claw hammer will do. In fact, a little one, this is 8 ounces, is what I use most of the time. You can use a bigger one if you like. You probably want to if you're hammering in big bolts, especially wedge bolts, because they take a lot of hammering. But if you're just doing little ones, there's not really any need to have the extra weight. So just grab yourself a small or medium hammer, chalk or something to mark the bolt placements with. Pretty handy. If you actually have any. PPE. Something we're all pretty used to wearing by now. Masks are a pretty good idea. Not because silicosis has a really high risk from this kind of thing, but you know, there's a lot of crap that comes off the rock, so why not protect yourself? You also should protect your eye bones with some safety glasses. I just wear these ones, which are sunnies, but technically they're tinted safety glasses. So, look good and practical too. Or, if it's not so sunny where you are, just normal safety glasses. To protect your ear holes, I like using these earplugs on the string. You don't want to go drill deaf. But you also don't want to drop your bloody earplugs all the time. So, I like using these guys. But if you forget yours, you may have some of these that you used on the walk in. They also help. PPE. A few drilling templates can make your day easier too. It helps to mark the depth you want to drill at on your drill bit. If you forget to do that, you can always measure with your hole brush. That's usually about the right depth. I also like to carry an old hanger and an old quick draw. Really helps you mark out the positions, work out when carabiners are going to be fouling or sitting wrong, and also helps you get your hanger position right, and even helps you guide in the drill so it's nice and square. Never seen anyone else use these before, but maybe we can change that. Finally, the drill. Which one do you want? What makes a good one? Well, I'm doing a lot of work on this channel to find that out. Meanwhile, I do have a video that lays it all down, so go check that out. But since you're watching this video, you pretty much just want a 18 volt SDS rotary hammer. Good to get a brushless one, and nothing too big. You're not drilling giant holes, so you don't need a giant drill. Probably no more than 26 millimeters or around a 1-inch capacity is needed. You also want to have something to hold your drill so you don't drop it, silly. I usually just use slings like that around the handle and then one of these for a shoulder strap. Drill bits. This is another huge subject and I'm going to be delving into this elsewhere in the channel. So for now, use what your local guys use. Ask around and see what works in your area. Hole cleaning stuff. A few options out there. You could use a squeezy thing. You can use a pump. You could use a can. You could use one of these. But my preferred gear is just a tube that you blow through, attached to a brush, and unless you're at a Mondra, yeah, brush out your holes. Bolts. What size, what type? Depends where you are. Depends what your rock is. Better off asking your local bolters. Fixed hardware. What are you actually going to bolt onto the wall? Now this is where it can get really expensive, so best to ask around with your local bolters and see what they use. Otherwise, I will be delving really deep into all of this stuff on this channel in the near future, so stay tuned. Hand tools. You got to install the bolts with something. The normal ring spanner is great if you know what size you need. Otherwise, a shifting spanner is good. I like to use a ratchet, but you got to make sure you bring the right size sockets. If you can find one, I recommend something like this, which is a double tool. Super handy. Vice grips can also be really handy. And if you're doing glue-ins, believe it or not, having some pliers really helps. Because if you've used the glue before, the cap is really hard to get off. Alright guys, thanks for watching. So, hope this was informative. Now, it's not really meant to be a shopping list. It's more to just to let you know the kind of stuff that's involved. You know, let you know a bit of the gravity of route development. Because it is really hard, expensive, and can be dangerous. So, you know, it's not something you just want to rush into. The best way to do it is, you know, hook up with your local crag care groups, your local bolting crews, your local rebolting. Help out with that a bit. Get some local mentorship because, you know, there's a lot of information online, but really what you want is going to be your local stuff because your local rock, your local situation, your local laws, ethics, all of that stuff. And yeah, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer here. Just a bit of a reality check because, you know, it's not really something you should just rush into lightly. Obviously, it's super glamorous stuff, but, you know, it is a lot of hard work too. So anyway, thanks for watching and stick around for a lot more deep dives into what all this stuff does. So yeah, scratches later.